Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Friends, before going into the details of the war, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell. Please support by subscribing and turning on the notification bell. We are a strong community. Czech delegation led by PM Fiala arrives in Kyiv on Monday, October 31st. A ministerial delegation led by Prime Minister of Czech Republic Petr Fiala arrived in Kyiv on a visit. Representatives of the Czech government arrived in Kyiv this morning to attend joint meeting of Czech and Ukrainian government. Immediately upon the arrival to Kyiv, the Czech delegation visited buildings destroyed by recent Russian bombings. The Czech embassy in Ukraine posted on as noted, Prime Minister Petr Fiala and several ministers will attend meetings with Ukrainian president and Ukrainian governmental counterparts during the day. Russia strikes the infrastructure of Ukraine again. Russian troops have attacked infrastructure facilities in different regions of Ukraine. For this act, Tu-95 and Tu-160 strategic bombers and kamikaze drones were used. 10 regions were hit by missiles and drones. The invaders managed to damage 18 objects of critical civil infrastructure, the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine reports. Hundreds of settlements in 7 regions of Ukraine have been blackout, the government noted. The Air Force Command reported that the Russians fired more than 50 Kh-101, Kh-555 cruise missiles from the north part of the Caspian Sea and from the Volgodonsk region in the Rostov region. The enemy used missile-carrying Tu-95, Tu-160 strategic bombers. The Air Force managed to destroy 44 of them. National power company Ukrenergo announced that local restrictions in the regions would be introduced to eliminate the consequences of missile attacks. A Russian missile falls in the north of Moldova this morning. A Russian cruise missile fell in northern Moldova. This was reported by the Ministry of Internal Affairs of the country. The missile fell in the village of Naslivcha, Onitsky district of Moldova. The village is located near the border with Ukraine. The country's Ministry of Internal Affairs notes that the Russian missile was shot down by Ukrainian air defense. There is no information about the casualties, but due to the missile falling, windows got shattered in several houses. This morning, in the northern end of the city of Naslivcha in the Republic of Moldova, on the border with Ukraine, a missile fell being shot down by the Ukrainian air defense, the Moldovan Interior Ministry said. The Moldovan department, citing information from the Ukrainian authorities, notes that this morning the Russians attacked the Dniester hydroelectric power station on the territory of Ukraine, which is 10 kilometers from the Naslivchanskaya hydroelectric power station. However, the Russian attack did not affect the dam, and there is no threat of flooding. At the moment, units of the Moldovan Ministry of Internal Affairs have surrounded the area of the missile crash in order to avoid possible dangers. A documentation team is working on the spot, said in a statement. The falling of the Russian missile was captured by an external security camera. The video was published by Nord News. In Kyiv, Czech, Ukrainian premiers hold talks in wake of fresh missile attacks. We have a series of negotiations with Ukrainian friends. I believe they will bring concrete results, says visiting Czech Prime Minister on a visit to Ukraine for talks with senior officials. Czech Prime Minister Petr Fiala met his counterpart Denis Shmyhal in the capital Kyiv on Monday in the wake of missile attacks on Kyiv and multiple regions. Glad to welcome Petr Fiala and the Czech government representatives in Kyiv. Today we held a joint intergovernmental consultation between Ukraine and the Czech Republic. We are deepening our partnership. Thank you for your support and solidarity with Ukraine, Shmyhal posted on Twitter following the meeting. Earlier, Fiala arrived in Kyiv with a ministerial delegation as nationwide air alerts were declared and critical infrastructures were hit. We are in Kyiv, which faced Russian missile attacks this morning as well. We have a series of negotiations with Ukrainian friends. I believe they will bring concrete results, the Czech premier said on Twitter. Fiala added that Ukrainians fight, not only for their country but for the whole of Europe, adding that support for them must continue. Blasts were heard across multiple regions in Ukraine, including Kyiv, in addition to a nationwide air raid alert declared by local authorities, excluding the region Crimea which Russia illegally annexed in 2014. Officials in the Kyiv, Zaporizhia, Kirovograd, Kharkiv, Cherkasy, and Dnipropetrovsk regions reported explosions caused by the Russian strikes in statements on Telegram. Meanwhile, local authorities in the Mykolaiv and Lviv regions reported that the fragments of missiles struck by air defense systems landed on civilian infrastructure or in open areas. On March 15, just weeks after Russia's war on Ukraine began, Fiala visited Ukraine along with the prime ministers of Poland and Slovenia, expressing the EU's support for Ukraine. During that visit, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky described the arrival of the premiers in Kyiv, as Russia continued its attacks on the capital, as a great, brave, correct, and sincere step. Russian missile shot down by Ukraine fell on Moldovan village, no injuries. Ministry. The Moldovan government said a Russian missile shot down by Ukrainian air defenses fell on a village in northern Moldova on Monday, but without causing any injuries. The country's interior ministry said the missile fell on the village of Naslavsia close to the Ukrainian border. For the latest headlines, follow our Google News channel online or via the app. So far there are no reported victims, but the windows of several houses in Naslavsia were destroyed, it said. Ukraine said Monday that Russian strikes had hit power and water supplies in Kyiv after more than 50 cruise missiles were launched at targets across the country. The falling of debris on Moldova is the latest spillover from the conflict in Ukraine into the country, which like its neighbor is a former part of the Soviet Union with a pro-Western government. Moldova said on October 10 that Russian cruise missiles targeting Ukraine had crossed its airspace, and summoned Moscow's envoy to demand an explanation. Hundreds of thousands of Ukrainian refugees have flooded into Moldova since Russia sent troops into Ukraine in February. Moldova was along with Ukraine granted candidate status by the European Union in a show of support in the face of Russia's offensive. Moldova has a small breakaway region, Transnistria, which is armed and supported by Russia. Russia fires more than 50 feet missiles at Ukraine, cutting power and water supplies. More than 50 feet cruise missiles were launched at targets across the country early on Monday, the Ukrainian army said on Telegram, leading to a cut in electricity and water for 80% of Kyiv residents on Monday. Ukraine suffered sweeping blackouts and water supplies were cut for 80% of Kyiv residents on Monday after what Ukrainian officials called another, massive, Russian missile attack on energy facilities. More than 50 inches cruise missiles were launched at targets across the country early on Monday, the Ukrainian army said on Telegram. From 7 a.m. 0500 GMT on October 31, Russian occupiers carried out several waves of missile attacks against critical infrastructure in Ukraine, the army said, adding that 44 missiles had been shot down. Several blasts shook the capital Kyiv, days after Russia blamed Ukraine for drone attacks on its Crimea fleet in the Black Sea. Currently, due to the emergency situation in Kyiv, 80% of consumers remain without water supply, the city's mayor Vitaly Klitschko said on Telegram. Engineers are also working to restore power to 350,000 homes in Kyiv that were left without electricity, he added. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.